Hey there, you're watching Bare Knuckle Binder. Welcome to the channel. As you can tell, I am back working on the R-170 4x4. And I was actually watching a video of mine with my mom the other day, and she told me that I should do a recap on every video so y'all know what's going on. So, in the interest of that, this is a 1954 R-170 4x4. The 4x4 is a Coleman conversion, which is extra cool. I found this truck in West Branch, Iowa, which is down by Iowa City. It had been converted to a wrecker. And so it had the rear end of a Ford with a wrecker body on it welded onto the back of the frame. Before that, the truck started life as a geological survey truck for the University of Iowa, and apparently it went to over 90 countries. Now I am converting this truck into a work truck, an ultimate period correct work truck as far as I'm concerned. And if it's an ultimate as far as I'm concerned, that means it has to have a 9-foot pickup bed. We have the 9-foot pickup bed. I went all the way to Western Canada to get it earlier this year. Also, as you can see from the start of the video, I got carried away and I put all the sheet metal back on it. So now it's starting to look really cool, but there's still a lot of touch-up stuff and tweaks and details and stuff to take care of. But in the interest of it looking cool and also cleaning up around the area, I have the pickup bed sitting out on a trailer frame in the yard. I have the fenders for the bed outside the shop doors, and they're taking up space and they're really crapping up the place. So I want to get the bed mounted and all that stuff done so that I can tackle everything else I need to do, wiring the truck, all that stuff. Because another thing to keep in mind about that is, even though I live in Texas, I'm up in Wisconsin right now dealing with family stuff. And being in Wisconsin, winter is coming. It's been averaging around 20 degrees Fahrenheit during the day here, and I'm running into a stretch of fairly nice days this weekend. It's actually supposed to be warming up to the 40s. So I'm trying to get all of this stuff done before the ground completely freezes. Now, if you've been watching this series for a while, in a couple videos back, I've been working on sorting out the frame. This frame is off of an R-160 International. This frame I got from Charlie's IH in Missouri. Great source for IH parts, look them up. But I've had to clean up this frame. It is now stacked because the frame on the R-170 was stepped. So I had to get creative on how to salvage that. I'm actually getting ready to put in the hoist body that came with a 9-foot bed. I just got done cutting out this cross member here, which went right here. I have to clear out everything in this top section of the frame so that I can weld in cross members and supports and fit the hoist body in here. Now, one complication I've had with the frame on this truck and the hoist body is that this guy is just a fraction of an inch too narrow, so I have to actually trim out the insides of it. And as long as I'm trimming it, anything worth doing is worth overdoing, so I'm gonna trim it out 1/2 inch on each side. I would have got away with like maybe 1/8 of an inch on each side, but I know that the hoist body is probably gonna flex a little bit, and I just wanna make sure that I've got all the room I need to get it back in. As you can see, the frame is stacked, it's welded together, and that sucker's not going anywhere, so I have all the strength. If I wanna cut off even 1 inch off the top on each side, I could. It wouldn't really compromise any structural integrity at all. So, I also gotta cut a drive shaft. So, more on that later. Now, my buddy Greg lent me an Eastwood plasma cutter so I could do anything I needed to as far as cutting is concerned. However, this is a doubled frame, so you have 2 layers of steel, and apparently plasma cutters don't like that. So I'm gonna try to do that with a torch. If the torch doesn't like it, then I guess we're gonna have to resort to cutoff wheels. Over 9 feet of cutoff wheel action through 2 plates of steel. That's gonna be awesome. So before I get the torch out, I have probably a good idea to remove this temporary gas tank, but I have a guide set up, and the guide is set at 1/2 inch, so it'll actually take off a little less than 1/2 inch. And like I was saying, I only really need to take off about 1/8. So if I end up taking off 1/4, perfect, whatever. So this steel strap was actually on the wrecker bed. The previous owner welded it on as a support, and it's reasonably straight, so it'll work as a guide. So a little time-lapse action. Let me walk you through what actually happened here. First off, move that guy down. I started off here with a torch. This was with the plasma cutter. Actually did a pretty decent job there. But then it still is not what I wanted. So I ended up doing this entire length. Got this angle iron covering this up. That comes later. Entire length with cutoff wheels. And then I decided to try again with the plasma cutter. I mean, it was doing it, and then it got choppy, and then I just went back to the cutoff wheel to get that clean finish. So now I got to go over it all with the flap wheel and clean it up. But the good news is that this is now wide enough to fit the hoist apparatus in here. And so I am working on that now. That, of course, is over here. I am working on putting the end cap on that right now. And then I will be actually cutting up that piece of angle and making brackets for the bed to mount on. And the bed is right outside the door, so the sooner I get this done, the sooner I can get the bed on the truck. Well, I think I have inhaled about 5 pounds at least of metal dust. But the good news is the cutting is done. Of course, the hoist bed here, I cut out my inserts, and I'll show you how this is gonna work. If you remember the last iteration of this, it had these tabs sticking out that were poorly cut with a torch. And so these are semi-poorly cut with a, well, the cutoff wheel did the nice parts, the straight parts, but that is the plasma cutter. Anyway, they go right in like that. They'll be flush on the bottom. Other than just this tab, which is going to be above the frame anyway. So there's 4 on each side, and this is what the bed mounts to. I'm going to drill a hole when I know exactly where I want to drill it. Now, why am I using these rusty old pieces of 3/8 angle iron? Well, because I had them on hand, so they're free at this point, but they're actually part of another truck. These were originally part of the frame extension on my M5H6 when it was a poorly stretched 6x6. And so when I bobbed it down to a 4-wheel drive, all this turned into extra. So this will work just fine for this. But why I am doing this, so this will be concealed right in there when it's all put together, is because the hoist bed was built originally to sit on top of a frame. And so when you see old pictures of internationals from the early 50s with hoist beds, the hoist bed typically sits about 4 inches above the body line. So the truck's bed doesn't line up with the cab anymore. It just sits like 4 inches proud. So my goal with this thing is to have a concealed hoist bed. So you really don't know it's a hoist bed until she starts hoisting. Hoister, barely know her. Anyway, so my plan is to have this thing so it is completely concealed, so the sides of those tabs have to fit in between these frame rails. I think I have plenty of room at this point, but I just want to be sure. So that's why they are flush with the C channel there on the hoist. So now I just got a ton of welding to do. So here we go. Oh, we're halfway done already. Realized the camera wasn't on. Probably help if I turned that on, huh? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't getting kind of excited right now. I've been waiting for this. The shop is an absolute mess, but the lower part of the hoist is at least in the frame rails. So let me cut up some angle and some cross member pieces, and I'll show you how I'm gonna mount this in here, and we're gonna get this thing sorted out and the top piece on and the bed in here. Well, all right. I am going to remain filthy, I think, today, but it's worth it. And let me show you why. So the hoist bed is getting closer to buttoned in. I put in the bracket there for the cylinders, but this is a clever idea I have for not only mounting it, but figuring out how to get it level. I have my leveling bar there that I showed in another video with the trailer jacks, and I made a channel for this cross member. The cross member is just a piece of 3x3 square tube, 1/4 inch. So it's nice and hefty. So I've got this 1/4 inch, 2 pieces of 1/4 inch angle there, cut off 2 dimensions to fit in there, and then 2 on this side. And when I get the top piece of the hoist on here, and then set the bed on top of it with this like that, and then here in the back I have something similar, but I only have 1 piece of angle in the back here. And the reason behind that is because the hoist bed's a little, that back hinge piece sticks over a little bit, so I was gonna custom make a piece to fit there when I get it to the point that I want it. But in the meantime, once I get it up to the height that I want it, I can just weld it and she's good to go. So I gotta get a jack under the back of this. I have to get the top piece set on here and the pin put in on both sides, and then I've got to wrestle the bed on here. Now I know I'm kind of flying through this right now, but I just wanted to show you the method I've devised to get the bed level, because I know with my S-160 Della, when I put the 9-foot bed on it, now it doesn't have a hoist bed, so I'm just gonna have to shim it up, but it's not exactly perfect with the body line. And with the hoist bed and all the different measurements that are going on around this thing, I need to make sure that I have a way to make sure I can get it perfectly level and going along with the body line, because this is a lot of work to have it not turn out how I want to. So I tried it out a little bit already, but how this works with these 2 channels of angle iron, as I raise the leveling bar, it comes up in that channel, or if I let it down, it goes down in that channel. And so when I get the whole bed on here, if it's low in the top, I can jack that thing up until it's where I want it. I can do the same in the back. And then when I get exactly where I want it, then I run a bead of weld to hold the cross member in place right there. Lock it in. So I know I am blasting through this and I'm not explaining a lot. I'm not filming too much right now, but I just want to get this done so I can get this video up, show you all the bed. All right. Top piece of the hoist is in and leveled out in the channel there. So I guess looks like it's about, what are you doing? Looks like about halfway up. Lane of travel there. So I'm gonna wrestle that bed on here and we'll see how she looks. Well, we got the bed on there and we've been working on leveling it. Had my brother come out and help me. He's a bit of a he-man, so came here directly from the gym and we lifted this thing up, and it's really hard to tell. It actually, to us in here, it looks like it's pretty much perfect as far as body lines are concerned. It's hard to tell on this because the cab's kind of chewed up there in the corner. And then we were working on trying to level the rear with this jack here, but kind of getting mixed signals with it because when we lifted up the bed, it took the weight off the back of the truck, and so it's kind of hard to line it up. But right now it seems to be about the best as it can be. So I'm gonna clean out the shop again, so not only can I take a clear picture of this and get back a little bit further, but give y'all a better look at this thing. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked about it. My brother and I sat out here for a little bit, like trying to get the bed level using the leveler, and it works really well, but I'm still not totally ready to weld it into the channels there on the cross members. But let me get out of the way. How awesome is that? Unfortunately, I can't take this out of here right now because it's doing its job, but man, what a rig. I'm gonna get into leveling it in the next video. I'll work on leveling it and getting everything and the bed completely bolted down and attached, but for right now, this is this is awesome. I love it. This is a beefy truck for sure. I don't have the extra duals, and to be completely honest, if you know me, I love these with a single rear wheel. I know a lot of guys love dualies, but single rear wheel to me is where it's at. But if I'm gonna keep a single rear wheel, I need to get a spacer. It needs to come out at least 4 inches. So, but anyway, awesome. I love this. This is so cool. I wish you could see this in person. I wish this was outside so we could get more of a perspective. That's what's making it hard right now with this, getting this lined up. We sat there with a level, not necessarily to get it level, but just to get like a, the parallel line, keep the body line. But anyway, more in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you don't mind. It really helps me out. And I'll see you in the next video.